Remember me, remember me, hey. Cause me to die of my true self. I ain't trying to be no one else. People make it hard when you just trying to live your life. They'll try to take you and try to break you. I not only see it, I open my eyes, I feel it and hear it. So to be coming down my eyes, cause I felt so deprived of the life that I always knew was mine. Believing in this one here and trusting in this one there, losing my faith, feeling this place, trying to keep up in this race. But I know now that's the it all. I keep a smile on my face and I always keep on moving forward. And it's giving me wisdom and this on me love. But most of all, it showed me I needed to free from my prison. And remember me, remember me. My doctor say you do remember me. Remember me, remember me. My soul is dreaming, and I'm so tired. I was so live, but I won't stand on this day. I won't stand on this day before myself inside. Remember me.
Sponsored and supported community radio. 89.3 FM WRFG. Remember me.
And I'm gonna live free.
That is Chargois.
And I'm gonna be real with me. And I'm gonna be happy with me. Yeah. But most of all, remember me.
Yeah, native Houston Texan is a supreme soul music artist. She's also has created all her own level of all things. Natural, beautiful, and raw. Creates music in the same tone. Her sound is one of strength, as you hear, and sensibility that penetrates the soul of her audience. As an artist, she has a sound, as you just heard, of her own, which makes her very, very unique. And she also often says that through her music, she seeks to heal, transform, and transcend. It is her own healing and is sharing her journey on remembrance. And we have her with us today. She just does so many things. She has a multitude of talents, as a music artist, also a holistic healer, designer, and vegan food chef. That's what I'm talking about. She's the reason why she didn't come in, because she didn't want to bring me no food. But at the same time, we're glad she's with us. She's also bringing us some information and with the Project 500, and we are pleased to have her joining us on Map Time. And we give thanks and we say, Chargois, are you with us?
Yes, I am, Juanique. Thank you so much for having me.
Well, thanks for having me have you.
Thanks so much.
The music is wonderful. It's beautiful as expected, and we're glad that we have an opportunity to share it with the audience, and of course globally, because we know we are streaming globally, so people are just now getting a sense of that music if they have already heard it. How you been, sis?
I've been doing well, Juanique. It's always a great thing to see you at 7 Under, to hear you. You've been doing a lot of great things in the community for a long time, and I just want to thank you for all that you do, and thank you for the opportunity to be on your show tonight.
Well, it's my divine pleasure, and the compliments of yourself. We wouldn't see each other if we were not doing some of the same things vibrationally, so it's really compliments of each other to know that we're showing up in the same places. That's a good sign. If we don't see each other, we know we're still busy doing what we say we come to do. And I want to talk more because, I don't know how much time we have with you, because we know we have another guest on the line who is also going to be sharing with us about Project 500. And I think one of the things is to preface this with is talking about how the economy is so shot to hell, if I can say that. And we also talk about the ways that we can sustain ourselves and put ourselves back in a stable way of understanding what is important in terms of how to move through the market. Of course, capitalism is, one of those things is tricky, and if you don't know how to move and get out of some of the things that are now being shown, that some of the paper credits that we use as money, they call them dollars, fiat as it is, that would really serve us in the way that it could, and we have to determine to go back what the standard was, and that is the gold standard. I think that's some of that we're going to be talking about. Talk a little bit about that. Before you do that, let me just make sure, let's go back a little bit. I don't want to rush into it. I want to make sure we talk a little bit more about that music. What inspired it? I know you talk about, this your love and the spirit and the energy, but man, that's great, man. Have we got an album coming out of that or what? There's got to be more.
Yeah, definitely, Juanique. The album is coming out of that. It's being generated right now, but the single, Remember Me, is releasing now. It's releasing, you just released it, Juanique.
All right, okay, there you go.
Officially on WRFG.
I broke it.
12:45, yes.
Well, I give thanks. I'm honored, highly honored, sister.
Yes, thank you so much. I'm honored just to have the platform, this radio station that does so much, in the community, just providing platform for many artists, in the Atlanta area and globally to really just share what they do, share their art, share their gifts and talents. For me, this song, it represents so much. It represents my journey. I say it's my song, my path, my journey, one song. I'm sure you've seen Food, Clothing, and Shelter, where, I shared in that movie by Ibrahima that, about my experience being homeless, and it took, just sharing that, it took a lot, out of me just to share it, because I had never really shared it out and open, and it made me very, very vulnerable, but it was a good thing because I want others, to know that, homelessness sometimes happens when, we're not prepared, we don't, know, we're not economically savvy, or we come into situations where, we just, find ourselves in, and so that's what this song speaks of, my experience of being homeless, experiencing different things, different people, different experiences in my life on my journey. And it's just about getting, back to me, the core of who I am,
Well, it's interesting that you say that, and I really thank you for sharing that and reminding me of that. Again, remember, right? Remember, we have to remember those people who are most unfortunate. We don't know it's all different, I'm talking about multiple stories as to why they're out there. And I say that, on the heels of the fact that I just something was shared on my timeline about a police shooting on the West Coast, I think it was in California, where they just shot and killed, a homeless person. And of course, I shared it, with others, to show that, this is what is happening. And I mean, literally, it just happened maybe more than an hour and a half ago. I'm sure he's going to hear more about it but obviously because of all the technology, everybody has a camera and a phone or whatever, and they caught it and captured it. And I shared it because I thought it's important to note that this is part of what, the system of things is moving toward in terms of, criminalizing anyone who doesn't have, again, the monetary value or the caste system or class system that this capitalism has created. Is that if you don't have money, if you're poor, if you're out of doors, if you're automatically are criminalized and subject to be shot and killed, by those who are now, becoming the terrorists of America, and then some of the police departments, that we have here who are occupying the communities more so than patrolling or protecting and serving. And right, it's not an indictment of all police officers, but it is indicative of what is happening with those who are loose cannons, who don't have any patience, any respect, any appreciation for unfortunate circumstances that someone might find themselves in, and particularly, that could have been Chargois, as a homeless person, wherever the situation may have been, really, truly having to struggle to maintain what you have. And I think that, you can tell a good story about that in terms of us remembering that we just maybe a paycheck or a thought away from homelessness.
Exactly. A thought, they say, people with homes, with just one that lost their homes was just one paycheck away from paying that mortgage, and they lost their home because they didn't have the $300 to $500,
Right.
And so these little situations that we, find ourselves in, every day as a people, just an individual, it's just really, time to just align ourselves with really what's ours, and it is abundance, it is, prosperity, but it comes through remembering, really aligning ourselves that economic information, that economic, the economic strength that we need as a people, and not just as a people, but in general, all of us want to be economically sound. We have business ventures, we have gifts and talents that we want to bring to the world, but that economic piece is that missing link. So that's why I have, as an artist and as an individual, has connected with this project called Project 500, and, it's very passionate. Because growing up, I'm from Houston, Texas, so we didn't always have everything, that we would have wanted, but we did have the things that we needed. But, the economics, recognizing, those economics were in place, a lot of things could have been differently. So that's why this movement is so passionate to me. It's raising the financial IQ of the community globally. And I connected with it recently, and I have on the line this evening one of the mentors and co-visionary partners of the movement. Her name is Ms. Dawn $1 Million Wilson. She's a mother, a mentor. She's such a wonderful woman. And she shared it with me, and it just, resonated with me. So I definitely wanted her to share on the line today. You just more information about the movement, and
and I want to, and thank you for segueing her in, because we do want to talk with her, because what it does, she brings a solution to some of the issues that we just talked about in terms of homelessness, because everybody has the potential to bring themselves into a space where they can be self-sufficient, and they can also become self-determined, and that there's no death sentence. It's not like, because you're going to a hard it doesn't mean that, that you're subject to that for the rest of your life, or you're sentenced to that for the rest of your life. And those stereotypes that we're dealing with is because people don't have patience to remember that everybody has the capacity, everybody has, potential to do something. So I want to go further and say that, as you just mentioned, Dawn $1 Million Wilson, as a mother and mentor, but she's also a celebrity business coach and entrepreneur and branding consultant. She's a single mother from Newark, New Jersey, and we got a lot of those, currently residing here in Atlanta with us. She's the co-visionary of a global movement, and that's called Project 500, a movement to raise the financial IQ of the community through education and what? Empowerment. As a visionary partner of this global movement, Ms. Wilson travels all around the world, encouraging change within the economic arena of everyday people's lives. And I could go on and talk about some of the things that she has done to bring this message through, but I'm glad and I'm very much, honored and proud to have her with us on Map Time. Dawn $1 Million Wilson.
Yes, yes, I am here. Thank you so much for inviting me on the show with Sister Chargois here. I'm just sitting here and I'm taking notes, listening to what you guys are saying, and thank you so much for just having me on the show, because everything that you're speaking on right now brings it back full circle on why it's so important that we start to educate and empower our people on finances, because when it comes to finances, most of our people are just simply filling that category.
Well, let me do this, because I really want you to be able to expound on that. As we are, this is WRFG Atlanta, listener-sponsored and supported community radio. I want you to expound, because, sometimes, Sister Dawn, we hear a lot about, we should go and do this, we should make some changes. There's ways that we can, manipulate the system, and we can go and we can all be, in a sense, become affluent or become stable, and, there's ways to do it. All you got to do is know what the nuances are. So, and it seems like, it's not a new discussion or a new phenomenon or a new conversation happening. It's just a renewal or a reinvigoration of something that's already present. And this also allows us to really take responsibility for our condition as a people first, because that's one of the major concerns. As a people, we find ourselves constantly with our hands out and wanting somebody to do something for us, which doesn't mean that they're not responsible for doing certain things, because government's role is to take care of its citizens. But when you don't have something that you're bringing to that equation, it tends to not necessarily allow you to be sustainable or be able to maintain yourself. So maybe you can bring us into that discussion in a way that really shows the full capacitance of what we need to do in order for us to really show up the way that we look at monetary values and look at currency and look at what it takes to exchange for goods and services. What is it that, you maybe bring into this equation that may be a little bump up of what we know already about this?
All right. Well, you know what? I'm glad you said that, because, first of all, that's one of the issues. And it's not that the government is not supposed to do things for the people, but one of the issues that we're running into right now is that the government is running broke. So when you're constantly dependent on the government and they're trying to cut back Social Security and take people pensions back, and, people used to get their income tax check back in a certain amount of time, and now they're holding people taxes back to October, you're dependent on someone, and the financial status of our country is in trouble. So what we want to do is we want to make sure we empower our people on the forefront and be proactive, saying, hey, listen, the problem is not that most of us do not have. The real problem is we have a poverty mindset. Not that our pockets is broke, it's the mentality. And what happens when you have a poverty mindset, because we've been so used to conditioned to buying into the hype of the materialistic things, we are big on consuming. So it's not that we don't always have extra money to do different things. We work. On Friday we get paid. On Saturday we broke. On Monday we back to work. On Friday we get paid. And we've been in this vicious cycle for years. So what we like to do is educate the people and say, because most people say, oh, well, people don't have any money right now, everybody's broke. That's not true. I see people who always complain about not having money waste a lot of money because we're caught up into the hype of the material things. So we're out and we're shopping and we're spending, and especially us, the sisters, we getting our hair did, our nails did, fingernails, pedicures. We all up in the malls. So we do have money, but we're continuously putting ourselves in a position where we're getting rid of all of our money, and nobody never educated us on the power of saving. So in my community, when I was growing up, nobody really talked about saving. They sure didn't talk about saving in precious metals. So that was something that was far-fetched, and most of the time, the people who were saving precious metals was people who was already wealthy. You see what I'm saying?
Right.
So right now, what we have to do is really evaluate our circumstances. Say, okay, let's just say you're a person and, you say, well, things is really tight. I mean, I don't expect that everybody is in a position where they can go start buying kilos and ounces of gold. Of course, everybody's financial situation is different. But for one, we have to become more savvy with how we spend our money. And I know you can relate to this because I was guilty of it myself. And even sometime now, you know how you be out and you might say, oh, I'm taking $100 out today, and then you come back and you got like $20. And you're like, all I got is $20. What did I do with the rest of my money? You be asking yourself, like, I thought I had $60 or $70.
Right. And it deteriorates rapidly.
Because we're not disciplined with our money. Let me tell you something. There's some cultures that if they have $100 and they step outside the house, when they come back with 20, they can tell you exactly where the $80 went. It's no such thing as, oh, well, darn, what did I do with that money? Well, I know I went to the gas station. I did. That don't exist in some cultures. In our culture, right? Because we still have that poverty mindset, because we conditioned ourselves to believe that I don't have it, I'm always broke, that when we get the money in our hand, we don't value it, and nobody taught us how to properly save it and diversify our portfolios so that we can be getting a decent interest on our money. So that's why I'm excited about Project 500, because with this movement, we allow people to get different programs, and show them how to begin to start saving precious metal a gram at a time versus a kilo and ounces, because most of our people don't have that type of finances sitting around.
Well, wait a minute now. Slow down a little bit now, Dawn, because what you're doing now is you're revisiting a conversation that over the years that I've been on this particular program, I've been talking about the way that we have our economic acumen up and running by realizing that there are certain things that never lose its value, only increase in value, and always are available. But we, because of our lack of education in this area, for the most part, we, as you said, and you stated, one of the things that we can talk about, what is the scourge of our community, is that consumerism is what we primarily find ourselves, engaged in, and that's intentional by those, who want us to continue to buy. And we don't even leverage that, to the fact that knowing that because we are the number one consumers or the main consumers of all the products and services, as poor quality as they are, we just find ourselves constantly wanting to get stuff and things, and these stuff and things have no value to it that allows us to be able to say that we can use it and we can't trade it in for nothing. And before you know it, we're right back looking for it again based on whatever we get in our hands when it comes to currency or fiat money. But to put it a little more in perspective, I want to maybe even go further to talk about the fact that if a person of your caliber, because you're talking, I'm looking at your bio and it says that you dropped out of school, and look at you now that it doesn't come off as you did that. Your articulation doesn't give us that impression, and your capacity to learn and be able to do what you have to do and compensate for that is to understand the importance of what you need to do to also sustain yourself and take care of yourself for your livelihood purposes. But what I want to do, we're going to preface this whole conversation within the context of knowing that we have to learn more about precious metals, because that's where, if you talk about people of African descent or ascent, that's what we lived in. We lived in nothing but precious metals and gold and diamonds, and those people who are there now as invaders or people who are there now as pirates or whatever, or who are going there now, know well the value of that. And we're finding ourselves misplacing or misdirecting what we know is valuable and then allowing ourselves to not become more engaged in precious metals. What does it take for us to understand that? How do we understand that in the world economy? How do we understand more about what it is to get precious metal, more so than putting on our fingers and putting it around our neck? How do we understand the importance of gold in the world economy as it is?
Exactly. That is real powerful, what you just stated. And, we really just don't have a clue about what's taking place with these precious metals. But one of the things I did want to point out to you that you do see that's taking place, especially in our communities, cash for gold signs popping up everywhere, people standing outside with those signs saying, we buy gold, bring us your gold, because our people are not educated. Not only are we not even investing in saving or storing precious metals, we're giving whatever we have away for pennies on a dollar. For pennies on a dollar. Oh, this is an old necklace. I got one earring. I have a watch. It's broke. I don't wear it any longer. So, with all of that being said, cash for gold signs pop up. They give you $100, $200, $300. My question to the audience is, how much is your gold really worth? If someone gives you $200, right, for your chain or your old bracelet or your watch, and it's gold and you don't wear it anymore,
Right.
how much do you think it's worth? They're in business to make a profit. So if they can give you $200, maybe your jewelry was worth $1,000. Maybe it was worth $1,200. Do you even know how much it weighed? How many ounces you had? Was it how many grams was there? You understand what I'm saying? So it's so much that's taking place. I'm so glad you said that, because one of the things that we have to do is educate them on to stop. For the people who already have gold, I don't care if it's broke, if it's old, you don't wear it anymore, you got one earring instead of two. Listen, hold on to as much gold as possible, and then start acquiring you some currency-grade gold.
Mm-hmm. Well, what we're going to do, I'm going to take a quick reset and come right back, because I want to further expound on that, Sister Jane, because I think it's essential that we understand the language, because that's one of the things that we find ourselves, because we don't know how to interpret the language of what it is. The economic language is a language that comes with being able to decipher, like you said, knowing about how to diversify your portfolio. You know, that's a new language for a lot of us. You know?
Exactly.
So let's make sure that we can get more of an elementary approach to that. Yeah, I know you can do the ABCs, and you're doing well so far in bringing us there. And then we'll, go further in terms of how we can do that. I might come back and also play a little bit of what I have, that was sent to me from the website that gives an idea of where we are, and then we'll come back to the
absolutely.
discussion. Okay, hold on. This is listener-sponsored and supported Community Radio 89.3 FM, Wrfg.org, on the phone with our sister Chargois, and also Dawn Wilson of Project 500. If you listen to the conversation, you know where we're going, and you know this is how we do it, particularly on Map Time. And we're glad that we are able to keep this discussion fresh, because it is time for us to pay attention to where we are and what we ought to do in order for us to maintain our position on the planet. So stay right there. Don't go nowhere. We'll be right back. Listener sponsored and supported. Community Radio 89.3 FM, WRFG. Not all, Nap Time Jazz.